Go ahead.
Okay, so I was in my mid-20s, ended up with an inner ear infection, ended up in the hospital for like 3 days because it was just this inner ear infection or like respiratory infection. Couldn't keep anything in. It was like, yeah, dehydrated, whatever.
Right.
Dizzy. Anyway, long story short, they stuck me on, all sorts of medications and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
Came out of it and I couldn't hear in my right ear.
What?
It was like damaged the inner nerve or the inner ear nerve or
So
something.
it was an infection out of nowhere.
It was some kind of like, I think
in
sinus, and it just went deep.
What was the surgery?
There was
Oh,
no
there was
surgery.
it was
just they had to stick me in the hospital because I was so dehydrated and nothing was helping. And did you ever get this shot in the
Yeah, like
butt?
penicillin?
I don't even know. Something to control nausea.
Oh.
And it goes right in your behind.
Yeah, sure.
And that at least like
Helped.
And then I honestly don't remember what else they gave me. But I was super dizzy. And at the time I was living in New York City on the 24th floor of an apartment building.
Oh.
And so going up and down
Did you get,
in
like,
that
a vertigo?
elevator. Yep.
Vertigo. Yeah, anything with like inner ear or like sinus kind of thing, right?
Yep. It was awful.
That had to be terrible.
It was awful. So long story short, I don't
you
hear.
can't hear out of your right ear.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I know.
So, you're always so aware of everything that I got going on in my yoga practice and everything. And every time I say something, you're there.
Yeah.
I definitely can't tell.
You can't tell, yeah. But sometimes I'll position myself. I mean, people won't realize, but I'll position myself so that I can hear better, out of the left side. Yeah.
Kind of like satelliting your ear over.
Yeah. So that's the story.
When I was in basic training, I got an inner ear infection.
Did you really?
And I was scared to death because I was like 5 weeks in.
Okay.
And what happens is if something medical happens to you or anything like that, you can get washed back several weeks and you end up in basic training for extra time.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then if you get put on this certain flight, a certain group.
Okay.
So we're all separated into flights, like squadrons and flights, right?
Okay.
And if you get put on like the medical flight, some people are just there for months and months and months, and then they end up not graduating, and then they're just back to civilian life.
Oh no!
So it's kind of like a death sentence if you get put on that flight. One morning, I was tying my boots, and I stood up, and as soon as I stood up, I lost my balance and I sat right back down. And I was like, "No, this isn't happening. I'm not gonna allow it." So I stood up again, and I fell right over.
You did.
I went to the
like the clinic
hospital or whatever, and I had an infection. They gave me some super antibiotics, gave me some shots, and 48 hours maybe I was like,
you were fine.
I was good.
So you see, interesting.
Yeah, but that vertigo feeling, when you're almost like when you can't control your own body,
right?
It's
scary. It's scary. Yeah. It was like everything's just spinning. Yeah.
I didn't lose my hearing though.
You're lucky.
Yeah,
I don't know why that happened. I don't know.
Wild.
Yeah, I had it tested for a couple months afterwards, seeing if it was going to come back. Nothing ever came back. And
they don't really know exactly why.
I don't know. It just got right in there and damaged something. So.
Huh. Were you doing yoga when you were?
No.
This is before yoga.
No, this is before yoga.
Why did you start yoga and when?
Okay, so honestly, I started because I was pregnant and my sister said, you should go to yoga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, what's yoga? That's just so weird,
Right, yeah. Everyone's got until you try it or you get in the community, everyone's got their own idea of what it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you went to a prenatal?
I did. I went to this prenatal and I was living down in Miami, off of Miami in Key Biscayne, which is this beautiful little island right off of Miami. And there was a yoga studio in Coral Gables. And another girl that I worked with was pregnant at the same time. So we said, all right, let's try this prenatal class. So we went in, took our first class. I fell asleep at the end in rest time. And I'm like sleeping there, probably with my bad ear up, right? My good ear down so I can't hear anything, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, I start to wake up and I sit up and everybody's looking at me, like waiting for me to get up. I was so embarrassed.
Really? It was like a Shavasana.
It was. It was.
So that's okay.
I know.
Everyone was kind of like, oh, she passed out.
Yeah. She must be really tired.
How many weeks pregnant were you when you
Oh my God.
Were you like far along or?
Not that far.
Okay.
I was, just barely showing like that. So I did that prenatal yoga, throughout that whole pregnancy. And then, had my son. And then when I was working on getting pregnant with my daughter, I went to a different studio. And this teacher was on Key Biscayne. Her name was Veronica. Vero Yoga.
Vero Yoga.
Yeah, that's how she calls herself. And she was awesome. I spoke to her on the phone before I went and, told her I was trying to get pregnant and everything. And she was just amazing.
Was it a studio? Sorry. Is it a studio just for prenatals?
No, no. So it was just a studio for everyone. And she said, just come on. And this was before I had heard of Ashtanga. Like this was, it was just yoga, general yoga, right? In hindsight, I found out that she was Ashtanga influenced.
Oh.
Okay? So she uses a little Ashtanga and a little bit of, some other things.
Gotcha.
Right? And so I started practicing with her, and then I did get pregnant, and I did my whole, for my whole pregnancy, I went to her classes, and she would give me, different modifications. When, the class was doing something else, I was doing some other pose. And like literally up to like a week before I had my baby, I was doing yoga.
Wow.
Yeah, and my daughter was fine. She was born 5 weeks early.
Really?
And she was completely fine.
Huh.
And I credit the yoga.
Really?
I absolutely do.
So, because it changed your body.
It did.
That whole practice.
Yep. It changed my body. It made the baby healthy, I think. No issues at all. I mean,
amazing.
It was amazing because there was, another woman in the hospital delivering the same night that I was, and her baby was also 5 weeks early, and that baby went to the NICU.
Because I was saying that's usually like life or death situation, right?
It's not so bad. It's not that bad, but their lungs might not be developed, so some of them have to go into the NICU and stay there for a little while. But
your daughter
my
was
daughter's
good to
like,
go.
I'm ready. Yeah, let's go.
Wow, she's like, 5 weeks early and just ready to go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the world.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. So yoga or your children kind of, like once you started becoming a mother, you kind of started thinking more about yourself too.
Exactly,
maybe, like,
exactly.
your own
Wanting
health.
to do, and be healthy. Yeah, because I was not I was not healthy. Not that I was unhealthy, okay, but I really didn't think that way. I mean, I had my, my little stint of being a vegetarian briefly, and then I did not do that properly because then I became anemic.
Oh,
right. I know.
Oh,
so I was
but it's difficult, right? Because you start limiting everything you have to eat.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're like getting 10 calories or something.
Right. So I just did not handle that properly.
Okay.
I did not approach it. I didn't have the proper background or like education on it. So then I stopped that. And then, I did get pregnant and all that. But I was just, living like a regular life. And there wasn't so much, you see so much more now about just living healthy lifestyles and watching what you eat and everything. It's just different, because my son is 18 years old now. So this is going back.
This must have been like pre-internet almost.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to think.
I mean,
it was like
definitely not what it was now with the kind of information that you can just, it's a click away.
Exactly.
Like
it was
Google was probably like
very limited.
Oof, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So now you can go on there and
find out.
There's so many diets. You do a different one each week of the year.
Right. That's right.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So did you so no fitness or anything? Like
I
you
did
had a
nothing.
gym membership?
No,
Nothing?
I mean, okay. Then I also had a time period where I started to run.
Okay.
And I would go. This is also when I was living in New York City, and I would just get up and go to the gym every morning and run on the treadmill because it was freezing outside. When it was a little bit warmer, I would run around. I did one race around Central Park. And then just go, there's the reservoir somewhere in the city. I don't remember exactly where, but, a lot of runners would go, and I'd wrap, my head in a warm band and wrap my neck and put these gloves on and, go out there and layer up and run in the cold weather. So I did that for a brief amount of time until I forget why I stopped.
But then at some point you discovered yoga and you was off to the...
Yeah, and then it was...
stuck with you forever?
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, off and on.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Again, wasn't like I started and then, I think, well, maybe it was because when I had my baby, my daughter, it was then hard to get back into it.
Your whole life changes when you have kids.
Yeah. And then actually it was around that time that I moved up to Orlando when she was only 2 months old.
Oh, okay.
So then, we came from Miami up to Orlando.
Yeah. So you were in
And,
New
yeah,
York, then you went to Miami, and then you were in Orlando.
pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
there was a New Jersey, New York kind
Gotcha.
of area there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
When did yoga become? Because now, I mean, it is a physical practice, but
it is.
there's more elements to it, right? There's all these different limbs of
Absolutely.
yoga.
Yeah.
Did you start getting attracted to that later on after practicing
It
for a
was
while at
later.
all?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I just did yoga because I loved the way it made me feel, and I
Mm-hmm.
never honestly thought that I would even be able to do a headstand or anything. I just
Right.
went and just did what I could, and went to different places and started off at one place, and then until that owner sold that place,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of bop around and
Yeah.
you try this one and that one, and then I actually had friends that joined the Yoga Shala just when it
Mm-hmm.
was about, just when it started. And a couple of them said, you should try it, you should try it. And it took me like a year to actually
Yeah.
get over there. So I really loved it. I did. And I practiced for a little bit, but then, life got in the way and jobs
Yeah.
got in the way, or, career ideas got in the way. And so really it was physical, but it also just made me feel good. I don't know. I couldn't
Right.
explain it. I wasn't really necessarily like spiritual or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really started it because I liked the way my body felt,
Right.
and I like to be moving and to be active.
Yeah.
So that was really what
And I
drew
mean, the
me
physical
in.
parts of it, it is like it's something you can do your whole life.
Yeah,
Right? It's low impact. It deals with
Mhm.
strength, flexibility, balance, all these things.
exactly.
And I do think once you start doing it regularly enough and you
mhm.
stop doing it,
Mhm.
you notice a difference.
You do,
And it's kind of like, oh, that was good for me. You know,
right?
I
And
gotta go
you've
back
been
to.
there, and
I have, yeah. You've witnessed it where
Yeah.
I've left the shala and
Mhm.
come back because I was like,
hmm
I mean, it helps you deal with. I mean, if you're going through anything that emotionally or like just things that you're thinking about, like
Right.
kind of get control of you.
right.
Having a practice at all gives you time to yourself each day to really just kind of notice those things and
Mhm.
just be aware of them.
That's
It
true.
doesn't have to be nothing supernatural about it or anything. It just gives you time with yourself.
Yeah, and it kind of
Yeah.
helps you process things,
Right.
kind of digest things, it just kind of works it out.
Mhm.
So, I did, when I was gone for one period of time, I was going to school to be a sonographer,
So like the
the
typing?
ultrasound.
Oh, ultrasound.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know everyone, gets
What-
them
I'm
confused,
thinking,
right?
what-
But yeah, it's the ultrasound.
Yeah.
So I thought I would go into that career. But while I was doing that, it was very stressful, the studying and everything,
Oh, yeah?
and going to school, and also having 2 little kids at home. It was just very
Yes.
difficult.
It's 2 jobs.
Yep. And I remember being in a class and being really frustrated, and I said, I could be at yoga right now. What the heck am I doing here? Like, what the hell? Why
Yeah.
am I here?
Right.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, knock, knock, you
Kind
need
of
to
realize
get
where you
back.
really wanted to be.
Yeah,
Where your heart kind of lied, your passion maybe.
Exactly.
This was after the shala or
It was
met-
like, I had started at the shala, but then
kind
kind of
your way.
stopped,
Yeah.
like we all do, or
Yeah.
many of us do.
Sure.
Yeah, we take that time off.
What so that was your first time with Ashtanga then?
I had done Ashtanga, but I led Ashtanga when I
Mhm.
first moved to Orlando. There was, I
Okay.
can name names, or,
Yeah,
full circle
yeah.
yoga from,
Yeah. Oh yeah, full circle is very popular.
Yeah, the prior owner was named Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
and he taught Ashtanga there. He would do it about a couple times a week, and then once a month he would have a full primary led class.
Mm-hmm.
But the classes that he taught a couple times a week were more of a half primary, still led.
Yeah.
And he would dissect a pose, let's say, at the beginning of every class.
Okay.
He would say, today we're going to talk about, Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana or something,
Yeah.
We would partner up with people, and he would give
Oh,
us
that's
little
cool.
tips. It was really cool. And then we would go into the practice. So then around the same time that he decided to sell the studio to someone else is about the same time when Krista opened the Yoga Shala.
Yoga Shala, gotcha.
So, and just by coincidence, it just
Wow,
happened.
yeah. So you kind of naturally just
Yeah,
went back over there.
yeah.
And for people who are listening, wondering what the hell is Ashtanga? What is Ashtanga yoga?
Okay. So Ashtanga Yoga is a very traditional form of yoga. Ashtanga means 8 limbs, Ashto is 8, Anga is limb, meaning there are 8 limbs to this whole concept of yoga. We are actually practicing physically the 3rd limb, which is the poses. I could list the other 8 limbs. We have the yamas, number 1, which are, and the yamas and the niyamas, which are, I always say they're like moral codes or universal truths. So how we interact with the world, and then how we interact with ourselves. So things like non-harming, being truthful, being having cleanliness, purity, being content, not being greedy, having faith, self-study, discipline. So those kinds of things. So those are things that we all can work on forever.
And those are things people don't normally, at least in the beginning, identify with yoga.
Right.
I think, right?
Right.
You understand those as like, they're things that make you, for lack of a term, better person.
Exactly.
Right? But how do you actually make that into like a technology that you can practice regularly? And that's kind of what yoga is, maybe?
It is. It is almost like a formula, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so work on practicing the yamas and the niyamas, those universal codes, and then work on the physical. And the reason that we do these poses, there's so many reasons, but we want a healthy body, okay? Because once we're healthy, then we can focus on higher limbs, which include meditation, concentration, breath work. Then we also need to be able to sit for a long time in meditation.
Right. And if you want to be with your mind, you want to be distracted by your body.
Exactly.
Kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yes, because when you are sitting there for a long time, you're like, my back hurts. Oh, my foot's falling asleep.
Right.
Oh my, I can't feel my hand or whatever.
Back was a big one for me.
Okay.
That I know, like just being able to sit and be comfortable, not even necessarily like trying to meditate, but maybe just naturally being more meditative, if that makes sense. Just not having to like shift or like have to stand up and move. Just being able to sit and. It's exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you have that healthy body, you can do those things. The physical poses also help you work on your concentration. Okay, so you're concentrating on getting into the pose, and once you're in the pose, you're concentrating on your breath. You're focusing on your breath, your inhales and your exhales. You're also focusing your gaze point, which helps bring that focus directly to one spot rather than looking all over the place. We don't practice with mirrors because they're distracting, because then you're like, oh, how do I look today? How does that look? My hair.
I was in a studio for the first time that had mirrors, and it was like over a year since I've been in a studio with mirrors, and I felt really distracted.
Yeah.
I kept trying to look at myself or other people, and I was like, I don't like this anymore.
It is. It's so distracting. So the physical and the poses teach us that level of concentration, which is one of the higher limbs. And also the breath, working on increasing the length of the inhale and the exhale. So deep breathing. And of course, that kind of leads us to the reasoning behind deep breathing. Well, again, there's so many reasons for so many things. There's so many elements that go into it. But if you increase the length of your exhale, it triggers your vagus nerve, and vagus, which always sounds like Las Vegas, but it's not.
Yeah. It's the party nerve.
Yeah. It's having a party inside there. Yeah. It's a vagus, and it's actually, it leads to so many different parts of our body, like different organs. It's the one nerve that has multiple destinations, let's say.
Got you.
But they've shown scientifically that when you decrease or you increase the length of your exhale, it triggers the vagus nerve to trigger the autonomic nervous system.
Something we don't normally have control over.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It triggers the rest and digest aspect of the autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
So your body goes into more of a restful state.
Huh.
And so that's why we work on increasing those inhales and exhales.
That's
so we can,
super interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
So that's all practice, and then we work on breath work. So like the fourth limb of this Ashtanga is breath work, pranayama, breath control. Prana is also kind of life force, life energy.
I think I've heard like the metaphor where there's like an image of how like you're connected with everything through your breath, and there's a cyclical thing that's happening with you and everything around you through your breath, right? It's the one thing you're constantly like in connection with everything because of you're inhaling, exhaling your environment.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So and it's
I don't know. It's kind of
interesting. Yeah.
It's kind of more of like a beautiful thing to think about, maybe in
is.
terms of just what's actually happening, but
just physically, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that could because we're all connected with the energy, that we live in. I mean, the universe. We're connected with the universe, the energetic, fields in the universe. So, we're connecting with all of it through everything. Yoga with it. Chanting, like Om. That the vibrations of Om match this natural vibration that happens in the universe. That's it connects us. Yeah.
And ancient people just kind of just gravitated towards that sound, huh?
I know. How did they figure it all out? I don't know.
I know. I mean, I remember maybe like years and years ago before, because I kind of got into yoga after my mom and my sister did, and I kind of just vicariously learned things through them. But I remember even before I kind of had it around the house and stuff, like thinking about chanting as like just some
weird thing.
Hoo-boo-boo-boo thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And now when I actually, because for Ashtanga, it's traditional to have an opening chant right before you start your practice, and then a closing chant right when you end your practice.
Right.
And the meaning behind the words aren't so much, maybe I'm wrong, but aren't as important as like the actual sound, the process, right? Really the feeling you get from the sound of the words is the benefit.
It is. I mean, the meaning is, it's there.
Right.
It's there, but there is something about chanting, and you can look at it in religions, even though Ashtanga is, and yoga is not a religion.
Right.
But you can look at it when people pray, and it's the same kind of thing. They have prayers, and it helps to also put you into kind of that
state.
Zone.
Yeah. No, that's what I was about to go into. Is like as soon as I get there, it's not so much about physically standing on a mat.
Right.
It's more of like, okay, now I'm with myself, and that chant just gets me there. Maybe it takes me like 20 seconds to say it, and all of a sudden everything I was thinking about in my car on the way to the Shala is gone, and maybe it's still there, but if it is there, I'm just being aware of my own thoughts, and it just brings me to that space.
It does. It does. It helps ground you and sets the mood or sets the tone. The opening and the closing mantra are just important. And then, there's so many other chants.
There are tons.
There's so many.
I mean, for every deity, in Hindu, there's a chant, or several, and they're interesting to come across new ones and just hear them and see.
It is. I mean, when I first did the apprenticeship, we started out with chanting. It was like one of our initial things, after we introduced ourselves and did a practice, and it was like, okay, let's learn these chants. And we would kind of sit around and do call and response and listen to them. And I was like, this is really weird. I'm never going to learn these. But then I really got into them, and I found recordings of them, on SoundCloud or wherever. And I would just, had a mix of them, and I would just play them all the time, and I would play them in the car, and my daughter would start like singing, I can't remember which ones, but she would start, kind of, there was one that she liked,
and kind of stuck with you.
Yeah, or I would be walking the dog and just kind of like, asatoma,
Yeah, sure. I listened to Kino McGregor's chants. Yeah, it's on Apple Music, so I found it on there a while ago. When I was learning, actually,
the
opening and closing ones, I would sometimes listen to them on the way.
Yeah.
And it was so nice having the call and response. Like you taught me,
right?
You and Krista both taught me those, and I kind of almost didn't want to stop doing the call and response with you guys. It was so nice having somebody just in front of you, and you're just kind of just doing this chant together. But you guys are eventually like, it.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah, you do. You do. You learn it. You learn it.
So.
And I love to tell the story that I actually finally memorized the opening one by listening to Madonna. Because,
really?
Yeah, Madonna did a version of it on her Ray of Light album. What? Because she used to practice in New York with Eddie Stern, who's one of the big
Madonna
Ashtangis.
was a yogi.
She was. Yeah, I
sort
guess
of?
this was like whenever Ray of Light was out, I don't know, 99 or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, so she made her own little version of it, but I would listen to that over and over to learn the words,
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, Madonna chanting. I'm gonna have to
I
look that
know.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
cool.
It's a
Yeah.
Madonna-ized version.
So, back to the Shala.
hmm
So for people listening, the
Yeah,
Shala, Yoga Shala, it used to be located in Winter Park when you were
it
going,
was.
but now it's in
Yes.
College Park on
hmm
Edgewater,
hmm
and you guys do a Mysore school of thought on
Right.
teaching Ashtanga,
Right.
right?
They call it
So,
the Mysore-Style of Ashtanga. And Mysore is the name of the town in India where this style of practicing really was developed and came to be popularized.
and so that's the series, right? The
Well,
actual, or
the
no?
Ashtanga has 6 series. And
Okay,
so
right.
we all start out, of course, in the primary series. Most of us are practicing primary series. Some of us are practicing intermediate. Then there's third and fourth, fifth, and sixth. So let's say Krista works on third, or she's, I think, all the way through third.
She's into
series.
the more advanced.
Yeah, she's more
stuff now.
advanced.
Yeah.
And they call them like advanced A, advanced B.
Okay.
Just for easiness, I say third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the Mysore style, which means that everybody's practicing the same series or the same sequence of poses, but at their own pace and, according to their own breath. And
So as opposed to a group-led class, which most
Correct.
people, if they go to do yoga for the first time, that's probably what they're going to run into.
Exactly.
Especially in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
You go and there's a teacher and they're kind of
Right.
telling you what to do and
Yeah.
they'll guide you. Everyone's moving together.
Exactly, right.
But here
right.
you have to actually memorize
You do.
the series.
You do. And so do you think that was difficult when you came in?
I guess it would have been a little bit more difficult if I didn't know what I was walking into. I could see how, like, if I was kind of going in there thinking, like, oh, I'm going to a group-led class,
Okay.
and then I sit down, everyone's doing their own thing, I'd probably be kind of like, oh, shit, what did I get myself into, you know? Luckily, my sister had been there before, and she kind of told me a little bit, and I was like,
Okay.
this really sounds like a great way to build my own personal practice and to not just rely on somebody all the time, but to really hone in on to learn the postures, to actually learn it, not just rely on a teacher to tell you what to do, but
Right.
to learn.
Yeah,
And it was, to me, it was, I guess, empowering.
it is.
And I was very patient with it. I think you just got to go in there and being like, learn a little, like one thing today, and you did it. You're good. And before you know it, I'm still not through the whole primary series, and I've been practicing there for like. I left for a few months or whatever, but a year and a half almost, since I've been doing Ashtanga. And, I'm through most of it.
You're right up to the edge of the gateway poses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the gateway to the next series?
Like the gateway to or maybe gateway they're the most challenging poses of the primary.
Gotcha.
So they take a lot of work, but once you get them, you're like, whoa, I got these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I see people practicing them, and I'm like, wow, I don't know. But also, too, I do things now where I used to see people, and I'm like, I can't bind. I can't put my arm behind my back and grab my foot. There's no way I can do that. And now it's just, it's
like you
regular thing. And, it's nothing crazy. It feels great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know.
But I would say, I would highly suggest people, beginner or, if they've been going to group-led classes, to at least try Mysore-Style Ashtanga, because it's, I don't know, I can practice at home now because of Mysore. I can.
Yeah. You can take it anywhere, and you can even modify it as you need. I think it's important to learn the basics, of course, and learn the exact primary series. Learn all the poses and exactly how they're supposed to be, and then as you get further along and further along, let's say you can't do a whole practice in one day. So you do your sun salutations, you do some standing poses. Maybe you finish with, closing postures. But you can kind of tailor it every day according to what you need or, how you're doing.
Because, if you do the whole, where I'm at now, it takes me like an hour and 20 minutes if I do everything and I really kind of focus on a few things and repeat them.
Right.
But on days that, I don't go to the Shala necessarily, and I got to go to work and I got things to do that day, and I have like 15, 20 minutes, yeah, I'll do the Sun Salutations,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
Namaskaras,
Right.
and then maybe some of the standing, and then do
And
some
then,
of the, whatever else I want, whatever I
uh-huh.
feel like. If I want to do some of the seated
Uh-huh.
stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
and just that alone gives me what I need to be on my game for the day.
Exactly. Right.
You know? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just enough to get you moving, to get that focus, that concentration, focus on the breath. It just, I mean, a practice doesn't have to be the entire thing.
Right.
I've heard one other teacher say, you can't put in 100% every single day. So, maybe some days are 70%, one day is 100%, and then go back to 70%, or, so that you can make it sustainable over a long period of time.
Right.
Because if you're putting in 100% every single day, forget it.
You're not going to want to do it either.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's great is it's your own personal thing.
It is.
So
it is.
That you take what you need from it, and then go about your day.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so unique, compared to all of the other yogas out there, the yoga styles. Okay. Yeah. It is super unique. It's empowering. It's your individualized practice. It's according to your own breath. And I find, the sequence to me makes sense. You're learning poses one at a time, and you're not trying to do something that your body's not ready for.
Right.
You're doing the work up front, to build towards getting to a pose. You know?
Whether that means like building strength or flexibility or,
right.
just like, if sometimes I think too, if you're trying to do something and your energy is getting too much up, your breath starts getting out of control, you're probably not ready to because the main thing I think you and Krista always say is, the breath is the one thing you need to always have control over. You don't want to be you don't want to compromise your breath for anything else.
Right.
And just kind of the way the series is built up, it's kind of like a ladder. I guess. You just take it one rung at a time.
It is. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect description. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, and it is. It's always coming back to the breath. Wherever you are in the practice, always come back to the breath. Remember, that's what you're focusing on. Don't forget to breathe. Because so many times in our life, we get tense, and we're like, or the breath is shallow or whatever. But this is just come back to the breath.
Yeah, it's true. And I find myself doing it. I bartend at and sometimes people are just stupid drunk. I work at Universal bartending, and people are on vacation, and they're just loud and obnoxious, and they're not even trying to be rude. They're just
they just are.
They don't have their wits about them.
Yeah.
And so they are, but they are loud and rude. And I find myself just kind of like,
okay,
it's all good.
It's
fine.
It's cool. But it's true. It's hard because sometimes people think that yogis, we're practicing yoga, that we are calm in our entire throughout our entire life. But we all have our moments.
I heard a great definition. It's a definition I never came. Well, it was a definition for the word responsibility.
Okay.
Whereas before, I kind of thought of it as like something that if you're responsible for something, like if you do it or you don't do it, that's on you, right? That's kind of how we generally think of responsibility.
Right.
But I guess another interesting definition, if you'll entertain it, is just the ability to respond.
Okay.
And not just react.
Aha.
So it's more about being like having a conscious response than
Right.
like a compulsive reaction.
Right, like an emotional, visceral.
Yeah.
Like,
So like when someone makes me angry or whatever, I get angry,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't just. I have a better habit now of just. I don't want to say habit because it's not necessarily. It's not compulsive. But I have a better practice of now just being like, I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm angry right now. I feel it. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I can respond to it with clarity however
Right.
I want. And that's just another part of, I think, just exploring your, experimenting with yourself, which is kind of what I think yoga is to me.
It is.
It's an experiment. It's an ongoing experiment.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's why it's a practice, because it's constant. It's a constant work in progress. Working on the yoga, but also just bringing it and applying it to our lives. How do we bring what we learn on the mat, into our lives? How do we respond? I love that, our responsibility, and how we react to people or to situations. It's definitely a work in progress. And,
Totally. And it gets, and it isn't, you could be you could be a monk, in Tibet somewhere, but you can get angry.
Yeah.
I could go, they can, but it's just interesting to think that some things that you you were never taught that's in your control. You know, these aren't things that you just learn growing up unless you kind of got lucky and you had like a parent that was like that, or I mean, certainly not in school. They're not teaching you how to control your feelings.
No, unfortunately.
Which, you think like that might be a good place to start with new humans.
Yeah. I mean, I know some schools do have some yoga programs.
Do they?
They do.
I haven't heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I tried to teach an after-school class at my daughter's school, just like a short program, It was difficult though. I will say I'm not great with kids. I mean, no, I'm like the worst yoga teacher
your kids,
for kids,
and then everyone else.
Yeah, I just can't teach them. I don't know. It just hasn't worked out. But kudos to all the teachers out there because working with kids all day.
I love like my nieces. I don't have any kids of my own. And I don't know. I think I'm always great with kids for like a day, but only because I'm like the fun uncle,
right?
But I don't know. I definitely couldn't. I don't think I would be into teaching.
Teaching
kids.
That's a whole new thing. I mean, you get the ones that love it, and let's say loved yoga. I also taught art at another time. And you get the ones that love whatever subject you're teaching, and then you get the ones that are just they have to be there and they're just not interested.
Yeah, that's probably what you run into. Like as soon as you try like putting yoga in school, like how many people are going to have an interest in it,
Yeah. So, I mean, you do it for you do it because you know what? I think you're actually planting the seed. I think you can do it. You plant the seed, whether they take to it right now or maybe not, but at least it's in there, and who knows? Maybe they'll come back to it in the future.
True, yeah.
So you do what you can.
If they have at least if they have like an authentic idea of what it actually is,
right?
Instead of just seeing some fancy pose on Instagram,
right?
Then if they've actually had at least one firsthand experience, they'll at a point in their life they might be like, maybe I should try this.
Exactly.
I'm not doing great or something.
Exactly.
And now a few words about our sponsor. Castledor Studios is a music production house located in Orlando, Florida, and it's where I choose to record episodes of The Orange Lando Show. The studio features a blend of vintage and modern equipment and can accommodate musical artists of any genre, voiceover recordings, and, of course, podcasts. They can help with anything audio related. Castledor Studios offers free tours. Come check out their amazing facility for free. There's nothing to lose. They also offer free open house events like their monthly songwriter night where artists share and critique each other's work. It's free, people. Every session you book with Castledor Studios will be professional, private, and inspiring. If you have a creative idea, take action now and contact Castledor Studios at castledorstudios.com. Use reference code OrangeLando to receive a 10% discount on your first booking. All right, back to the show.
We were talking about the teaching styles, I think.
Oh, right. You were talking about Mysore versus other types of yoga. And just, the Mysore, once I found Mysore-Style Ashtanga, I really could not go back to other styles of yoga.
Right.
I just, I tried, or not that I tried, I
what
went
other
here and there.
Have you?
Honestly, I guess they were all just vinyasa type classes. I did one Bikram class in our apprenticeship, just to experience something different.
So Krista, who is, I think did we say that she's the owner?
No, I don't think we did.
That?
Yeah.
I'll put it in the bio and everything. But yeah, Krista Shirley, the owner of the Yoga Shala, she went to, I got to get her on here eventually.
I know.
But yeah, she went to India regularly for, I think she still
several
does.
Years. Yeah.
But, and so she was certified by the founder of Ashtanga.
She was.
Right?
Well, he's the, let's say, not the, he put it all together and brought it to the West.
Okay.
To the Western world.
Gotcha. Yeah. So he kind of formalized the series?
I think so.
A little bit more concrete?
Right. Right.
And then made it, brought it to the
Brought
West.
it to the
and all
West,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, she went there several times, and I remember her telling me that you can't. It's not like you apply for a course and you get certified.
No.
You got to go there and practice.
Yes.
I think 1, 2, 3 months at a time.
It used to be, yeah. You would have to go for several chunks. I think now they only take people in like a 1 month time
okay,
frame
1 month.
because they have so many people that want to go.
Wow.
So they have to open up slots, but you do have to apply. I know now, they'll open up the window for applications, and right away at midnight,
Just
everybody's sending
really-
in their applications.
wow.
I hope there's a space for me. I hope I get in.
Wow.
And
But-
you just
And you're not guaranteed a certification.
no. I mean, it's really the time that you go and you spend there is really kind of what gets you closer towards that. But you really can't go with that as your end goal.
Right. Because it's like a gift.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's like something they kind of
Yeah,
bestow upon you when
Yeah,
you're ready. Right.
It's like that, yeah. So
Yeah.
you really just have to go with the idea of just being there, being at the source, practicing there and wanting, to learn more and to do more without having a goal in mind.
Right. 'Cause, if you get certified through, like, was it Yoga Alliance or whatever here in the U.S., it's just about putting the hours in, I think.
That is,
Kinda,
and
right?
yeah, honestly. So we're not even affiliated with them.
I noticed, yeah.
Because, how can you... There are so many different kinds of yoga that how can you have a board that says you're
Right.
okay and you're not okay. There's so many different things that go into each style of yoga. So it's really kind of like
It's hard to have, like, one organization that says,
Right.
like, this is the way,
right,
this means you're certified.
right, exactly.
I guess what you do know is, like, they're at, like, they have some level of competence in something, and they're not just someone completely random.
Right. At least they've done some kind of training.
Yeah,
yes.
something.
So they're not just
that's-
some random person. Oh, I'm gonna open up my studio.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did nothing.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But Krista, so
Yeah.
she did. She eventually got level 2 certified.
She did level 2 certificate or authorization.
Authorization.
Yeah.
Authorization. That's
Yeah.
it. And so she opened up the Shala originally in Winter Park.
Right.
Now, like I said, it's in College Park in Edgewater, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's what really she taught you Ashtanga.
She did.
Right.
Yeah. So like I said, I did some lead classes early on before I came to the Yoga Shala.
Uh-huh.
Now, actually, I did not take Krista's classes in the beginning because I never went to the super early morning
Right.
class.
If you want to see Krista,
Right.
you gotta
You
be
gotta get
there.
up early.
Yeah.
So
You
so
gotta
I
get there,
went
like,
to
at
the
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was not at that point in my life. And I still had to get the kids ready for school, in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I would drop the kids off at school and then go to yoga. So I was there for the mid-morning class. So I had different teachers. I had one teacher was named Shanna, and then another one named Alethea. And so they were some of my early teachers at the Shala, but they all learned from Krista.
Yeah.
So Krista really only hires people that have gone through her apprenticeship.
Right. She's very particular.
Exactly.
About who's represented in her studio.
Mm-hmm.
She probably doesn't care too much about Yoga Alliance certifications.
She
or
does not.
anything. And I could tell why. And she has an apprenticeship program of her own.
She does.
And those are the people that kind of go. It's a pretty difficult.
It's
a process.
It's an intense. I like to think of it more of like an Ashtanga intensive.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of reading,
Mm-hmm.
practicing, getting together for those weekends, intensive weekends, writing papers, going and visiting other studios or exploring other kinds of yoga, learning the chants, assisting her in the Mysore room, so learning the adjustments. There's a lot of also working, as the group, the apprenticeship group, they'll work on each other, like, and giving adjustments, learning how to give adjustments. It's a pretty intense program, but I loved it. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
It was just...
It's kind of ongoing too, right?
It
Once
is.
you're an apprentice, you're
Yeah,
an apprentice.
we're going to actually meeting with her, and we're going to plan out the dates for the next apprenticeship, which is going to be probably, sometime at the end of this year, at the end of 2020. maybe in the fall or maybe starting at late summer. I'm not really sure, but it's open, and anybody can do it if they have an interest in it and are want to work on something and dedicate themselves to something, commit to something.
Would you recommend people have like an experience in Ashtanga first before they?
It would help to just have an understanding of it and have some experience with it, so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it is different from other styles of yoga, so it's not like your other, your Yoga Alliance 200-hour training.
Because it's a lot, even if you kind of know what Ashtanga is already.
It is.
But
it is.
It could also be a great crash course for someone who's like,
just
I just learned about Ashtanga and I just want to go in.
It,
right?
it could be. Yes.
You could.
Oh, you'll learn a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you already have some other kind of practice or something too, maybe, and you just kind of like it. Spending time with Krista is going to be valuable no matter who you are.
Yeah, she's an amazing teacher, and I've just learned so much from her. And then I share it with my students. So it's kind of like, it's that, what they call that, and forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, parampara. It's the Sanskrit word, or that's kind of talks about learning from the teacher and then passing down the tradition, from person to person. And so I'm kind of following in that. I learned from Krista. She learned from Patabi Joyce, and he learned from Krishnamacharya. So it's that teaching that just keeps getting passed down.
Like that lineage of
knowledge. It is. It's
ongoing.
Yeah, so it's really cool. But yeah, she just has a wonderful way of explaining things, and really.
Yeah, she brings a sense of clarity to everything, I think.
She does.
If you have she does. It's amazing.
Right.
Also, now I'm thinking about it. I've never been to like another yoga space that I associate so strongly with the owner and the main teacher.
Okay.
Like if you go to the Shala, I mean, you're my teacher.
Right.
For the last like 6 months, it's been like I've been seeing you.
I don't know how long.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. And but even still, like when I go to the Shala, I think Krista. And I mean, when I first started, the only reason I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning was because I knew like if I got up, I could go practice with this rare, skillful, person, and this mentor, really. And I've never been to another yoga space where I was like, I'm gonna get up for this teacher.
Right.
Maybe there's someone I preferred a little bit, but where it's like I'm keeping this membership because of her.
Yeah.
100%.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just, that's not like something that you just open up a brick and mortar studio for and you have,
No.
It's hard to find.
It is. It's just something that she has, that, it's not something that you can even, that she can't, teach necessarily. She teaches, what she knows and everything, but there's something in the way that she herself teaches that, I pick up on, and I can try to replicate, but she just has it. Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She's got it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. When's the apprenticeship start?
So I'm not sure for sure, but
springtime?
This upcoming one is going to be I still think late summer.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, but I believe late summer through the fall.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure. So once I have the dates, you can post them or
and
something.
Maybe we'll have you back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe when we're doing that, we'll just get you back on here and talk about what's going on.
That's perfect. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
My sister did the apprenticeship.
Yes, with me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She was in my class.
And she was traveling
a couple hours, right?
Yeah, like 2 hours each weekend.
Right.
And she'd come and stay in my spare bedroom, and that's how she'd come up here, and it was like 2-3 days a week, something like that.
She would it was Friday nights, all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember she'd come up, she'd go right to the studio and then come to my place and crash, and she'd be gone for all day, the whole weekend.
Right.
And it was definitely something. How do I put it? It was draining her because she had her whole life going on 2 hours away, and it was hard. She eventually had to stop.
I think she got
pretty far through
I thought she really finished the whole thing, but just didn't take the. I remember. I don't think she was there for the exam weekends, but I feel like
she was going for a while.
Yeah,
for sure.
She really did.
And she does have a great practice herself, but. Again, that's like a Krista thing. Like she was driving 2 hours,
right?
And really just putting this dedication, sacrificing her weekends, her time, all her time off to go and learn from
From Krista, yeah.
When I saw her doing that, I was kind of like, so what's this yoga thing you're so
that's
interested
funny.
in, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of started. I mean, I still did, it was still years before I ended up at the Shala, because I was, after that, I moved to Los Angeles for a few years.
Right. Okay.
Popped around studios there. And when I came back, I just remembered.
And
Shala,
yeah.
So, yeah.
But that was, I don't know how your sister found Krista.
Maybe through a teacher in town that knew her or something. I would have to ask her, but
yeah,
she knows, because she was practicing. Sebastian, Florida is the town I'm from. It's a little beach town. But her and my mom were practicing there with a few different teachers, different places, different times.
Right.
Maybe through one of them.
So maybe they knew of Krista. And yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah, no, but that was nice. Yeah. She was great, to have in class or in the apprenticeship.
I would love to have her come up and just for a class again or something.
I know, she should.
Yeah, she would love to.
She definitely should. I know,
I
it's
could probably
a lot.
convince her.
Yeah, have her come up for I don't know.
Just a day.
Yeah.
Just come up and we'll go to a practice and get lunch or something.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
For sure. Yeah.
So if people want to get started at the Shala, should they go online?
I think the best thing, is we do have a website. It is called kclub.com.
K-Club.
K-Club. The K is for Krista. Okay.
Krista's Club.
Yes.
Yeah, club.
Now, the best way, honestly, to get started is that we have an Intro to Ashtanga course, which is a 2-week course. It meets every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for 2 weeks. Okay, so it's 6 classes. And it is an Intro to Ashtanga course. It does happen within the Mysore setting. So you will be taking the class within the class or the studio along with other people practicing who are already who already know the practice. That's just designed to get you used to being in that setting. Because at first it can sound really intimidating. Oh my God, I'm going to go and practice and do my own thing, and everybody's going to be looking at me, and I'm not going to do anything right. People get that in their head, right?
But you get one-on-one attention, especially if you're a new student.
Yes.
Like when I actually love it when a new student comes in.
Oh yeah.
And because you and other teachers I've had there, of course, Krista, like you guys are like ninjas. You just know like what I'm doing in my practice, what everyone else is doing in their practice, and when you need to come over and make an adjustment, or like you'll yell at it from across the room, and I'll be like, oh yeah, my hands in the wrong spot, or whatever, my shoulders, And but you can be focusing on a new student, spend 60% of your time really with them, walking them through step by step, talking about some of the things we just talked about, like your breath. And, I think you usually start off with the namaskar, the sun salutations.
Right.
And so it may sound intimidating, but it's kind of better than going into just a group-led class, because you have like a teacher and you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about like interrupting anybody, because
they're all
they're doing their own thing.
They're like in their own little world.
They don't care about you. They're doing their own thing.
Exactly.
And it's actually kind of
it's nice. I mean, it's
huge benefit.
Right. It's almost like private session within a group setting. Or like
that's
a private class.
I'd say that's exactly what you're getting.
So, and we welcome everybody. I mean, a lot of people say, I mean, how many times have I heard, I can't come, I'm not flexible. Well, that's the whole reason that you come, is to build flexibility.
There you go,
I never really thought I would have any strength when I started this. I was completely not strong at all. But I've built strength, and all it takes is just, that commitment.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to go in and just try a little bit every day, And so if you can just kind of get your head around that idea of just doing a little bit every day, or, every couple days or whatever, but having some kind of consistency. And that, that you'll see changes within you, in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, everything. But that's why the intro course is so good, because it kind of forces you to go 3 times a week for 2 weeks.
Like you got to, if you're going to start, you got to commit 3 times a week.
Yeah, exactly. And otherwise, if you're saying, I'm going to go 1 time, and then I don't go back for another couple of weeks, well, whatever you learned the first time, you're not going to remember. So the benefit really comes from doing that, that practice consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it takes. It takes a little bit of dedication.
It does.
And that's, like you said, that's part of yoga itself, just having a sense of dedication.
Right.
So,
it's like,
if you do that and you commit, you're practicing yoga.
Exactly.
You're doing it.
Exactly.
You're making your life better.
You are. I mean, you're talking about, you're taking care of yourself, because then, once you take care of yourself, then you can take care of those around you, and you can, help take care of the world.
Yeah.
So it all starts with you.
It starts with you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't help anyone else if you can't help yourself.
Right. Exactly. So true.
It's amazing.
So, I wish everybody would start yoga.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone could benefit, no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're already athletic or you're not athletic at all, and you just sit at a desk job all day, it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. Yoga will make your life better.
It will.
It'll make you better at whatever you're doing.
It's true.
If you're if you're an intellectual and you need more focus, or if you're someone who labors all day and your body aches,
right?
Like yoga is just meant for
every human being.
It's designed for every person, no matter what their walk of life is.
And even, it doesn't matter age.
Right.
A lot of people might think they're too old, or and they can't do certain things, but that's okay, because we can modify everything to make it work for them. Yeah. So they're at least still getting there and still spending that time with themselves.
Yeah.
So
it's beautiful.
It is.
Well, we can probably wrap up soon.
Okay.
It's been really nice.
Yeah, thank
Shelby,
you.
you gotta so what times do you teach?
I teach every Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 11. Okay. And then I also teach Monday and Wednesday evenings from 5:15 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
So I'm there a lot.
So people will probably find you if they walk through those doors.
Exactly. Yeah. And even if you come in these super early mornings from 6:30 to 8:30, I will be doing my own practice at that time.
So you practice before you teach?
I do. So you can, set your mat down right next to me, and we can share the energy.
There you go.
And enjoy a lovely practice. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Shelby. I'll definitely have you on again.
All right.
Maybe when we get closer to the apprenticeship.
Okay. Thank you, Stuart. I appreciate you asking me to be on.
Yeah, no, this is the first season of the Orange Lando show.
Awesome. I can't wait for this to be out there.
All about, I kind of think of it as like the Orlando Weekly of podcasts.
Perfect.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But community, culture, Orlando.
Exactly.
I love the city. So.
It is. There's so much. So
and you're
in
just
the city.
One of many amazing people I think that the city has
Thank
to offer.
You.
So hopefully people recognize it and come see you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.